Hello, my name is Mary Diggs-Hobson, and I'm the Director for African Americans Reach and Teach Health Ministry, or AARTH for short. And we're here today to talk about a wonderful project that we've been working on called Healthy Homes, the Environmental Healthy Homes Project. And this work we've been doing in SeaTac and Tukwila, looking at how to educate African American residents and as well as Ethiopian residents about environmental health risk, how to make their homes healthier for themselves and for their children and for their families, and also about recycling and the importance of recycling. And so in this series of sessions that we've been doing, we have been talking with different guests about environmental health and recycling. So we're happy to have with us today Tom Watson, who is a manager at the King County EcoConsumer Public Outreach Program. And as part of Tom's talk to, what he does is talks to groups and write articles and appears on radio stations and as well as TV programs like this one, and to talk about the work that he does around environmental health and recycling. He does research and work with many other organizations to try to answer people's questions about environment, about health and safety at home. Is that right, Tom?
Yes, that's great. It's fun to be here.
Okay. And so today we're going to be talking about three important topics. And I think really maybe some of the topics that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to the environment and our health and even saving money and recycling. And so today we'll be talking about safe and eco-friendly toys for babies and small children, household saving energy tips. I'm interested in hearing that one, and also holiday recycling. And that should be a great one to talk about at this time of the year. So, Tom, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk with us about safe and eco-friendly toys for babies and small children. What do you have with you today?
Well, thanks, Mary. And these are all great topics. You proposed these, and I'm excited about all of them. And the first one is toys, so that's especially fun. Many of us have young children or friends with children. We have young kids and babies in our homes. Mm-hmm. And we are giving toys, we are getting toys for our own kids, and people really want to know what the safest ones are. They want to make sure they don't get one that might be hazardous or not as environmentally friendly also.
Right.
And especially, I know when in my family we had a baby, and quite a long time ago, because I'm pretty old. But you're always so worried about it, and I don't want to scare people and make them think that you have to be so paranoid and worried about everything. But on the other hand, you want to just take the basic precautions, and so I wanted to give some of those tips today. Safety is the number one thing, of course. You don't want toys, things with small parts, for example. For babies.
And this is really a good timing for me because we have 9 grandchildren.
Oh my gosh.
And we have some little ones. And so coming up on Christmas, it's good to know what are those safe toys and which ones we should stay away from.
Are you one of these grandparents that spoils your grandchildren and gives them a whole bunch of toys?
Well, we tend to lean more towards the educational toys.
Well, that's what we're talking about today.
Okay.
That's the first tip. See, you'll probably be better on these tips than me because with the toys, because you have more experience with all those kids around.
Got quite a bit of experience.
So educational toys and just in general, it's good to stay away from the very cheapest toys because those might, like the kind you might find, and sometimes people see these and want to give them to their kids or grandkids, those like at a dollar stores, the kind of no-name toys. Those are the sort of ones that could still have hazardous chemicals or lead or something in them.
Well, this is really important to know because the dollar stores is the place to shop now, and especially when fixed income, low income families. Yeah.
So I would be very cautious about getting just toys in a bin that look really cheaply made. It would be better to spend a little more money, or ask the people giving your kids toys to maybe just one little more expensive thing instead of a bunch of the cheap little things. One real issue at dollar stores and those kinds of stores that have a lot of inexpensive stuff is the costume jewelry. And those costume jewelry has been found to have cadmium and lead, some hazardous heavy metals. There are some laws in Washington State now to help reduce that, but those things can still come in, those kinds of products, and I would stay away from costume jewelry, even for the really cheapest costume jewelry, even for teenagers and adults.
Really?
Yeah, for the jewelry, you can still buy the inexpensive stuff, but not the really cheapest no-name stuff, because it can still be an issue. So those are things to stay away from. And I brought a couple examples here. Educational toys. Books is just the all-time favorite. I bet you give your grandkids some books sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, lots of books. I think that reading is extremely important, and starting as small as reading to them, and then it helps them to, to learn how to read faster as well.
And this is an example of a book by a local author, and there's a really cool company in Bellevue called Readers to Eaters, and they publish books about kids and food, and use a lot of local authors. They did a book with Will Smith, the famous African American food pioneer in Milwaukee, who's been to Seattle a number of times for things, and so I sometimes review environmental books for the Real Change newspaper, and I recently reviewed this book. So this is about a little girl who plants a lot of zucchini and can't give it all away, so she starts a neighborhood garden swap.
What? Oh, okay.
And so it's an educational story. It's just a fun picture book. So that's an example. You can get books like that at the library, or to give as a present.
Okay.
Books are great. The electronic toys. Do you give those very often? The kids like those sometimes.
Well,
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I think the older kids tend to really, that's what they like. Yeah.
But those have batteries, and they seem to break easier. So that would be something to maybe reduce the number of electronic toys. They have a lot of those electronic toys with batteries and flashing lights and the talk, even for very young kids now. So I would go a little easy on those.
Okay.
Toys like this is a simple. Now, for a baby, you wouldn't want something with a cord or small parts, but this doesn't have the small parts, and it's a toddler toy. It's a pull toy. And this is an example. This is a brand of toys from Europe called Brio, and they're known for, it's a wooden toy and it's very durable. So this would last forever, and a 1 or 2 year old might enjoy pulling it around. They have different kinds. This is the little frog. So that's just another example of some of the well-made toys that you can find, because well-made and durable is really the way to go too.
Okay. So things like as far as the paint, I know there are laws against lead in paint and particularly with toys.
There have been some real issues recently, and most of the main companies have really gone unnoticed and are really on board with being very serious about keeping lead out of those toys. This is a company. This would be an example of a company that's known for that and is meeting the stricter regulations that they have in Europe.
Okay.
For example, and but even the major U.S. toy companies are getting better. But that raises the question. So some people on a low income may be getting some toys at thrift stores, for example. I would stay away from the older toys because older ones, even ones that your friends and family might give, can have some of these issues of lead. There's a chemical called BPA, bisphenol A, in plastics. But the newer toys won't have these. Toys like this won't have those.
Okay, all right. But this is all really good news. It's good information. I know that there are so many families that could use this kind of information when they're shopping, for Christmas, and to shop safe and healthy. So, great.
Yeah.
So
just keep into the basics. Not the least, not the most, not the cheapest is. and paying attention to the toys that are more durable, and you want the kids to be interested in them too.
Yeah, so they have to be something that's really kind of neat and catchy that they can show their friends, and you know the drill. Okay. Well, Tom, the next thing that we're going to talk about is saving energy and around the house, and this is really a topic that I want to know more about. So I think it's interesting that, to talk about practical, inexpensive ways to save money around the house and at the same time stay green.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that? Because I'm changing light bulbs right now. I see you have some on the table.
Saving energy helps us save money and helps the environment, helps reduce climate change, which is such a huge global issue. That's something that we can do to contribute that in a small but significant way. And it's great that you're changing light bulbs at your house. The utility companies in our area, the electric utility that most people would have would be City Light, number one, or Puget Sound Energy. Those would be the two main ones. And both of those utilities often give discounts and special deals for energy conservation things. Even if people aren't paying their own utility bill, maybe they are in an apartment and that's covered by their apartments, but it still would be important to the landlords or the organization to do that, and they might get these energy saving discounts and things. And this is an example of a light bulb that the Seattle City Light gave free to customers if they sent in a coupon. I'm not sure if it was all customers. Did you do that deal?
Well, we did get have an opportunity to take advantage of that, and we were at an event a couple months ago, and they were giving the light bulbs.
And that's common. Both Seattle City Light and Puget Sound Energy do that. Give away the bulbs. They're getting a lot less expensive. Now, did you go with the LED bulbs? Are you trying to do that? There's also the CFL, compact fluorescence.
Well, the LED bulbs we use most of the time, even
That's
with
great.
our Christmas lights.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So.
And that's really the way to go. So that's the new generation of energy efficient bulbs. LED, it stands for light emitting diode, and people really generally like the kind of light from them. They're usually pretty bright. Do you like the light from yours?
I do, and I even have like a flashlight that's kind of
Yeah, many of those are LEDs now.
And
it's bright, isn't it?
It's a bright, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's amazingly bright, and but at the same time, it is illuminating, and and it works really well.
One issue over the past few years in the energy conservation field is that the first kind of energy efficient light bulb that was promoted was the CFL, those compact fluorescents. They had the kind of swirly top, and a lot of people had problems with those. They didn't like the light. They have a little bit of mercury in them, so they need to be recycled, and if you break them, you need to be careful about the cleanup.
Okay.
And you can still find those. Those might be even cheaper than LEDs, but I would stay away from the CFLs if you can and just go with the LEDs, especially since they're a lot more inexpensive now and you can get these deals on the LEDs.
Yeah, well, that's good to know because we do still have a few of those swirly ones at the house. And
Well,
so-
I would just leave them alone and use them, and then when they burn out, I would or you need to recycle them, take them in. There are many locations now that you can recycle those for free.
Okay.
The compact fluorescents. But when you're getting new bulbs, I would go with the LEDs because they'll last longer. You'll probably never need to replace the ones that in your lifetime or other people's lifetime in your
Really,
household.
that long? That
Yes.
long? Okay.
They talk about 25 years or more, yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. So when you talked about the places to drop them off for recycling,
Yes.
so is that the same places where you drop off your electronic equipment, or is that a different?
Those are
place?
different. Those are different programs. Those
Okay.
are different state programs. The state of Washington and other local governments and organizations are part of these recycling programs. The electronics one is eCycle Washington.
Okay, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
The other one is Light Recycle. And so you could just search CFL Recycling Washington. anyone can also, for information, look up the EcoConsumer program that I do, and I could refer people to that.
Okay.
They could contact me through that King County EcoConsumer.
And they can just Google that.
Yes.
And it's come right up. Because
Yes.
that's how I got to you.
That's great.
Okay.
And for folks in the city of Seattle, and I know some of your viewers are, then I could refer them to, if I don't know all the information, I could refer them to folks with Seattle Public Utilities, or just send them directly to those locations. And there are a lot of your viewers in South King County and other parts of King County as well. And these locations are all over the county.
That's good. It's good to know it's accessible. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we need to hear right now, because there will be Christmas lights coming up.
Yes, the
I love
LED
it.
Christmas lights is a good idea. You can recycle your holiday lights as well, and we're going to be talking in our last segment about holiday recycling.
Yeah.
But just another easy way to conserve energy at home. Just trying to get in the habit with all the family members of turning off the lights and turning things off when you're not using them. That's a little thing, but I think it really
it makes a big difference,
and
though.
and even in saving money on your electric bill.
Oh, sure. And that's something that we are working on at our house. When you leave the room, turn the light off. There's no point in lighting up an empty room. So.
And some of us grew up where our parents, usually our fathers, would always be on us about not turning the lights off. And I urge parents to try and understand, because kids are always going to forget, especially teenagers. They just can't remember. But if you just sort of set an example yourself and gently remind them once in a while,
Yeah, sure.
then that might help. And it really, I think it's up to the utility companies and governments and the appliance makers and to make sure that energy conservation products are available, and it's not just up to us, that they're available at
And
a good
affordable.
and
Yeah.
that's happening more and more. There's the Energy Star program, so that the EPA does, so you can see on an appliance or a TV or something that you buy if it meets that energy conservation requirement or
Right.
certification, and then that'll save you money on your bill too.
And that's one of the things, I'm glad you mentioned it, because that's one of the things that in our education for the project that we do talk about, is to look at the labels, to read the labels and to look for what is energy saving, or, it's a green product, or it's an energy saving product.
Yes, and some labels and terms that are used don't really mean too much, but the official certifications like Energy Star for lighting, the USDA organic seal on food, that means something.
Yes.
Some of them really do mean something.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you very much. And this is good information, and we're going to be talking about our next topic in just a few minutes.
Sounds great.
Okay, Tom, here we are on this topic of recycling during the holidays. And I know, speaking for myself, that I maybe spend more money than what I should. So if there are any tips that you can give us on holiday recycling, I'm all ears.
And I'll bet you do a lot of this stuff already. In fact, I know you do, because as you mentioned a few things. This is one of my favorite topics. As part of the EcoConsumer program that I work on, every year we have a Green Holidays campaign talking about all different kinds of ways people can reduce their environmental impact during the holidays. Related to gift giving, it's great to give a lot of gifts, but I really believe that you shouldn't have to buy any new wrapping paper. There are so many different ways to wrap gifts without going out and buying. I think a lot of times we do it sort of unconsciously. It gets around November and we're at Target or something. I'll probably need, some wrapping paper and buy 5 more rolls, and then you get it home and you realize you already have a bunch of it.
Right, that's the drill. I mean, it's like, this is the time when you see them all on sale. And you pick them up.
Right. So this year, let's not pick up any rolls of wrapping paper and just use what we have. You mentioned reusing gift bags.
Yeah,
That's a great tip.
I love reusing gift bags, especially the really neat, cute ones, creative ones.
That's
You
great.
know, I just say, you're welcome to have the gift, but give me the bag back.
That's funny. And there's a lot of other ways, creative ways to wrap gifts. You can use your old kids' artwork. If it, what wasn't quite good enough to make it on the refrigerator, you can wrap up a small present with it. People use calendar pages and old maps and the comics pages, the color comics pages from the Sunday newspaper, all those things to wrap gifts. And you can even get really creative. So it's been a little beat up because I've shown it for a while, but it looks like kind of nice foil wrapping.
Yeah.
And so the bow is an old tape. People don't use these VHS tapes anymore. So just an old broken tape that was going to have to go in the garbage makes a nice bow. And this wrapping paper is actually an old chip bag. It was from a larger bag of chips just like this. And most chip bags are like this. And if you don't rip them all up and get them all wrinkled, you rinse them off. And they are a beautiful foil wrapping. This is a chip bag.
And now that's really creative. I never would have thought of that one.
People always love this one. And then when you do have some wrapping paper that are on gifts that you or others get, and you need to recycle it, you can recycle. You can put it in your paper recycling as long as it is paper. Reuse it. Some kinds maybe you can. Nice. I bet you reuse some of your paper
some of it if it's
on
not
the big
too
gifts.
beaten up.
But when it's beaten up like this, maybe this would probably have to go in the recycling. If it's a foil, this is a kind of a shiny foil one. I would either try to reuse this or put this in the garbage. And this one has glitter on it, and so that if it has glitter or foil or is plastic coated, then if you can't reuse it, put that wrapping paper in the garbage. It's okay to put things in the garbage if they don't go in the recycling.
Okay, thank you for the permission.
Well, people think I'm like the recycling police sometime, and always feel bad because they're putting anything in the garbage. But it's really okay. Recycling shouldn't be a chore. We're trying to make it more so people really know and answer people's
it's part
questions.
of the normal habit of recycling.
Yeah,
yes.
and it can be very confusing as we can see here, But this holiday recycling isn't as confusing as some types of recycling, because a lot of it really can be recycled. Bows like this, the first thing you said, well, I would save that to reuse that one.
Yeah, that's for next
That's
year.
a nice one. Yeah, save those. If it's too beat up, then it would go in the garbage. That would not go in the recycling. You can recycle holiday lights. You mentioned the idea of getting new energy efficient LED lights, and a lot of people are doing that. And these are the kind of old lights that are not as efficient. And there is actually a good recycling market for this kind of material, because the copper wire in Christmas lights is valuable to recyclers, to metal recyclers. And so there are a number of programs every year, businesses and programs, sometimes charity programs that collect those lights. Usually they don't announce the locations until a little closer to the holidays. But there are many you can get on our website. KCEcoconsumer.com is the EcoConsumer website. KC Green Holidays, KC for King County.
Okay.
KCGreenHolidays.com will also plug you into all these kind of recycling options. Electronics was also something you asked about. Many of us
where to take those.
get new electronics for the holidays, maybe for the family, a new TV or a computer or something else. Electronics are very recyclable through the eCycle Washington program. So many types of the larger electronics, you can recycle those for free at more than 100 locations around King County through the eCycle Washington program.
My husband has taken some old monitors out there and has.
You used to have to pay for those. Now it's free.
Yeah.
It's free to the public, but it's a great law that was passed a few years ago that requires the electronics manufacturers to pay for that recycling. And so that's how it's funded, and that seems like it's really the way it should be, where the industries are being responsible for making recycling free and easy for the public.
That's a great idea. I mean, it's a great law because there are so many. I know that you used to see them along, monitors and computers along the side of the road.
Oh, a lot more, and you don't see them as much anymore.
Right.
All these
So-
locations, a lot of Goodwill stores and other nonprofits and many retailers will take those, and it's really reduced the illegal dumping and saved people a lot of money. It used to cost $30 or $40 to recycle a TV.
And not to mention the amount of money it costs to pick up those dumped
Oh,
items along
that's
the
a big
side of
issue
the
for us
road.
at King County
Yeah.
and other places, illegal dumping, and so anything you can do for that is great too.
Well, this is information that I will take into the holidays. Oh, that's a cute picture. So we so much appreciate your time, Tom,
Yeah.
and coming out and talking to us about having safe toys for our children and our babies, and also about, in terms of energy saving tips around the house, and especially the LED bulbs and what we can do to, as we replace those bulbs, the old bulbs with the new LED bulbs. And I have a few of these at home that I am going to definitely recycle. Thank you
That's
so
great.
much.
It's really fun to talk about these topics, and it's so great that you have this project and this show. And thanks so much for having me in.
You're welcome. Thank you.